In 2007, within an Orthodox household on the island of Oahu, a small icon of the Theotokos began releasing fragrant oil, unnoticed at first, during ordinary prayer, setting a quiet beginning that would soon draw witnesses without announcement, pressure, or expectation. The icon was not installed in a church or shrine, but rested quietly in a family home, where visitors later recalled the scent appearing without touch or movement, slowly forming clear droplets that carried no residue, staining or visible source. Those present described the fragrance as gentle and sweet, closer to floral oil than incense, emerging during calm moments rather than heightened prayer, leaving observers uncertain whether to speak, record, or simply remain silent as the phenomenon continued without interruption or explanation. Initial reactions were restrained, with no immediate claims of miracle or declaration of meaning, as family members chose patience over interpretation, allowing the icon to remain where it was while noting each occurrence carefully over passing days without external attention or guidance. As the oil continued to appear, small amounts were seen along the surface of the icon, collecting slowly, with witnesses later stating that no human handling preceded the moments when the fragrance returned, often unexpectedly during quiet intervals of the day. Word spread cautiously among friends rather than publicly, and a camera was eventually set nearby, not to provoke proof, but to observe without interference, capturing the oil's presence while conversations remained subdued and deliberately free of interpretive language through extended, uneventful recording periods. Recordings showed the icon unchanged in appearance, yet marked by recurring moisture, forming without visible mechanism, reinforcing the decision to avoid dramatic framing, as those present emphasized continuity, repetition, and restraint rather than sudden spectacle or emotional escalation across multiple documented moments. Clergy were eventually informed and responded cautiously, choosing observation over proclamation, visiting the home to witness the icon firsthand, where the fragrance was again perceived, not as an interruption, but as something unfolding within ordinary domestic stillness over unremarkable, repeated visits. By this stage, the icon's location in the United States became known within Orthodox circles, though no effort was made to relocate it, preserving the setting in which the phenomenon began, and allowing time, rather than promotion, to shape understanding. The first months closed without conclusion, only with consistency, as the icon continued to release fragrant oil intermittently, leaving witnesses aware that something was occurring, yet unresolved, inviting neither urgency nor explanation, but careful attention sustained by restraint over time, without escalation. As the phenomenon continued, those closest to the icon adopted deliberate restraint, choosing disciplined observation over excitement, treating each appearance of oil as a moment requiring patience, silence, and careful memory rather than immediate explanation or public interpretation. The household adjusted routines subtly, ensuring the icon remained undisturbed, while witnesses noted that the oil appeared without correlation to prayer intensity, touch, temperature, or humidity, challenging attempts to associate the event with human action or emotional atmosphere. Clergy involvement deepened cautiously, with priests returning multiple times, sometimes finding the icon dry, sometimes encountering fragrance and oil, reinforcing the sense that the occurrence followed no predictable schedule. Resisting control, repetition on demand, or ritualized expectation. During these visits, documentation increased quietly, with cameras recording long, uneventful hours, emphasizing continuity rather than moments of appearance, allowing absence and presence alike to shape understanding and preventing selective focus on only the most striking instances. Witnesses later emphasized that the oil never replaced ordinary faith practices, remaining peripheral rather than central. As prayers continued unchanged, reinforcing the perception that the icon did not demand attention, but received it through patience rather than insistence. The fragrance itself became part of the discernment, described consistently across witnesses, appearing suddenly and fading without residue, leaving no alteration to the icon's surface, reinforcing the decision to document rather than interpret, and to wait rather than announce conclusions. As months passed, the icon began visiting parishes under clerical guidance, not as spectacle, but as presence, where observers again reported oil and fragrance appearing calmly, often during silence, reinforcing continuity across locations without amplifying claims or expectations. In each setting, the icon was received without ceremony, placed simply, allowing communities to encounter it without instruction, preserving freedom of response, and ensuring that attention remained measured, preventing emotional escalation or collective pressure toward interpretation. Throughout these movements, restraint governed communication, with clergy discouraging definitive language, emphasizing observation and time, ensuring that reports remained descriptive, not declarative, and that the phenomenon remained accountable to communal memory rather than isolated testimony. By the end of this phase, the miracle remained unresolved by design, sustained through repetition without escalation, shaping a pattern where endurance replaced excitement, and where the absence of explanation became part of the discipline surrounding the icon itself. Over time, the myrrh-streaming icon settled into church memory, not as an event to be solved, but as a presence to be remembered, spoken of carefully within Orthodox communities as something witnessed repeatedly, without demand for explanation or pressure toward conclusion. Accounts emphasized continuity rather than climax, noting that the icon never altered doctrine or practice, but quietly accompanied ordinary worship, reinforcing a pattern where the Church chose remembrance over proclamation and patience over interpretive authority. The icon's association with Hawaii remained significant, grounding the phenomenon in a specific place and year, reminding observers that the event belonged to real homes, parishes, and people, rather than abstract devotion or distant legend. Clergy reflections focused less on the oil itself than on the discipline surrounding it, highlighting how restraint protected credibility, allowing the phenomenon to remain within ecclesial order, rather than becoming detached through unchecked enthusiasm or personal interpretation. For many witnesses, the lasting effect was subtle, not emotional intensity, but an increased attentiveness to silence, prayer, and presence, shaped by encountering something that neither demanded belief nor offered explanation, but persisted calmly within ordinary time. As years passed beyond the initial appearances, references to the icon continued quietly in sermons and conversations, framed as testimony rather than proof, preserving space for doubt without denial and faith without coercion. The icon's legacy unfolded through repetition rather than narrative expansion, as each retelling emphasized what was seen, recorded, and remembered, carefully avoiding claims that would force interpretation and beyond the boundaries of witness and shared experience. In church memory, the myrrh-streaming remained connected to the Theotokos not through spectacle, but through familiarity, reinforcing patterns of reverence already present, rather than introducing new practices, devotions, or expectations of miraculous outcome. Those who encountered the icon often described leaving unchanged outwardly, yet inwardly attentive, carrying no conclusions, only awareness that something had occurred within a recognizable Christian setting, marked by calm continuity rather than dramatic interruption. The story closes without resolution, resting instead in ongoing remembrance, where the icon remains known not for what it proved, but for how it was witnessed, preserved, and allowed to remain quietly within the life of the Church.